Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is getting a significant number of reshoots. Now, you don't want to panic, but I guess it's pretty substantial. And given all the drama around this movie and the production and the directors being switched out, it makes you wonder if this movie isn't in trouble just a little bit.
Or something. Something's up for sure.
Something is up for sure. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 240,000 subs.
Woo!
Thank you for the support. We talk about comics, talk about Marvel, talk about Disney. We've been talking a lot about Marvel. In fact, today, I think all of today's videos are Marvel related.
Very Marvel day.
But there's been a lot of Marvel news because of all the Disney Plus announcements, and we're getting close to Spider-Man coming out, which is one of the few Marvel things I'm actually looking forward to. And Doctor Strange is going to have a big part in that. And now it's looking like this movie might potentially, possibly, maybe be in trouble.
I hope not. I mean, I actually like Doctor Strange, and Squid King, that was his favorite MCU movie, was the Doctor Strange film. For whatever reason, that's what he likes.
Yeah.
And I think he was looking forward to this one too.
Yeah, this is, again, the only, Marvel anything I'm looking forward to at this point, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and all the stuff Sony's doing. Everything else with Phase 4, I could care less.
Same.
So, yeah, the news broke via The Hollywood Reporter, and they said that the insiders say that Benedict Cumberbatch and company are undertaking 6 weeks of shooting, if not more, working 6 days a week. This doesn't sound like a light...
But depending on who they ask, people are like, "Oh, that's nothing," and people are like, "That's substantial." It depends who they ask.
Yeah, there are a couple different stories here. Now, this isn't the first problem the movie had. They had the original director jump ship for quote-unquote creative differences.
Which we always hear with Disney and Disney Plus and all that. Creative differences.
Then they brought in Sam Raimi, who I think is actually a good choice. He did the original Spider-Man trilogy, but he was hesitant to come into another superhero movie because he's like, yeah, people really hated Spider-Man 3.
Well, as long as there's no dance numbers.
Yeah. But anyway, they said Raimi remains as the Helmer. Loki head writer Michael Waldron is still on board with writing the new material. It's unclear what actors, in addition to Cumberbatch, are involved. The crew involved is familiar with the Marvel method and worked on recent pickups for Spider-Man No Way Home and additional shooting for Moon Knight. One source played down the severity of the shoot, even while in the middle of production. Marvel is scheduling you for more shooting, adding the size and complexity of Marvel movies necessitate additional photography.
Which makes sense. It makes sense to a point, but it seems like it's awfully extensive, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, because that was one guy. Somebody else said that, no, it's bad. They're here until the end of the year. That's like a whole nother movie. Like they're reshooting a lot.
Well, like 6 weeks is a whole other movie, but it's a lot.
Well, I said it's at least 6 weeks.
6 days,
could be more.
6 days a week.
Yeah, this is part of the problem I think Disney has, and is this part of the reason they're pushing the movie back. They're pushing all the movies back, the Marvel movies back. But part of the problem that Disney has when they announce their movies so far ahead of time is if the movie is not coming together, they're still stuck with releasing the movie on that date. And that's what happened with the sequel trilogy. It's like, they announced the dates to, kind of plant the flag on the date, but the movies, they weren't coming together, and they should have just been like, we needed an extra year for each one of these movies. Right.
Well, they were saying some of it could have been because of pandemic issues in the UK and stuff like that.
They're never going to say, look. No. They're never going to say, look, the movie is shit. We're looking at it. We're looking at the dailies. It's a trash movie. The whole thing needs to be scrapped and rewritten.
Well, I think part of the problem, too, with Marvel, everything being interconnected, is if something changes with one film or one show, it might change these other films and other shows. So it even could have been something that changed somewhere else, and now they have to redo a bunch of stuff to make it fit because somebody had this brilliant idea. That's fantastic. Make it work.
But I thought they had a master plan.
Right.
I mean, that's like all those plot holes in the Eternals. I thought that they weren't plot holes.
Well, here's the next question. Do they have a lot of reshoots because somehow it tied into the Eternals and that didn't do very well, and now they're like, oh shit, we got to go undo some stuff?
I don't know. I mean, it could be a number of issues, but this movie, the fact that the director jumped ship for creative differences, not a good sign. Now there are some rumors about Wanda Maximoff, and if you remember, Doctor Strange was supposed to show up in WandaVision.
Right.
And they cut him out because they were like, well, we don't want the man to come in and steal her thunder.
But it would make sense that he would show up to try to teach her.
Right. So now we're getting into potential potential spoiler territory. Potential spoiler territory here. You've been warned. So the rumor is that Wanda is actually going to be the villain of the movie. That Doctor Strange, the plot is going to revolve around her trying to get a hold of America Chavez because she has the ability to jump through dimensions and trying to use her to get to her kids.
Okay, well, as a mom, I can understand why people would do that.
Right, because they're obviously they're still out there somewhere because they kind of hinted at the end of WandaVision, which again is one, for everybody saying that we're a bunch of haters. I actually liked WandaVision.
I did. I really, really liked WandaVision. I'm actually excited about the Agatha Harkness, House of Harkness one. I'm actually kind of like looking forward to that. Yeah,
so and I was just happy that they finally, the Scarlet Witch was finally the Scarlet Witch, because it was like, she's not Scarlet Witch, she's some girl that shoots red laser beams. That's not Scarlet Witch. So they finally kind of retconned her. But then I have to wonder, is Scarlet Witch going to be the Thanos of the next, because she's ungodly powerful.
Yeah, but they usually have her as a hero, not a villain.
Well, yeah, there's some Marvel storylines, comic storylines where she's, I mean, they're talking, are they going to set her up for, House of M, or I don't know. Anyway, the rumor is that she's actually going to be the villain. This explains why America Chavez is in this movie, because people are like, that's a really weird thing to do to bring her into it. But apparently, punching portals in the different, multiverses, and Wanda wants her, and Doctor Strange has to stop Wanda from getting her. So that doesn't really sound like a Doctor Strange movie. It sounds like another Wanda movie.
Well, no, it sounds like it could be both, you know, which it was always going to be. I think that sounds more like they're not backburnering him as much as if she was, she was the main character in the movie named after him.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. And then to actually have those two, I guess, meet, in the movie theater for the first time probably would have more impact and it'd make more money.
Right. I think it's kind of cool. If she's a bad guy, actually, I think that would actually work out really well. So, but again, that's just rumor. Just like all of this stuff, we don't know why it's happening.
No.
We just can tell you that it is happening.
Yeah. Now, I am pointing to some examples with Star Wars. And we had a lot of, similar problems happen with some of the Star Wars movies, and the end results were not good. If you remember, there were a lot of reshoots around The Rise of Skywalker.
Solo, too.
And Solo. And, the same thing happened with Solo, where they had the directors leave due to creative differences. Everybody leaves because of creative differences. And they left because of creative differences. And then they brought in Ron Howard to salvage the movie.
Right, but how basically it was being spun was that he had to work with what he had. So I think it's a case of where I honestly think that they decided to change things. And then the director's like, okay, well, we're going to go with somebody else now because we're not using your story or idea anymore. And they bring somebody else and then use what you got and then take it to have some reshoots to make it work. And then it doesn't work.
Yeah, and in both of those cases, at least with Star Wars, now I don't know the extent of other Marvel movies being reshot. I mean, every movie has reshoots. It's just, nature of the game. But the fact that people are like, we're concerned at the number of weeks and the number of hours, because if it's just
that's it.
Yeah, if it's just a couple of pickup scenes or something, that's a week or two or maybe a couple of days. That's not 6 weeks to 2 months and six days a week.
Right.
I mean, people are like, that's like a whole nother movie. It might not be a whole nother Marvel movie, but you could film like a comedy or something, and that's kind of crazy. But yeah, we saw what happened with Solo. All kinds of reshoots. The movie was kind of uneven tonally. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. Actually, we gave it a pretty good review when it came out. I think we were expecting the worst.
Yeah.
It wasn't the worst thing ever, but you can see that they had like two different movies going on. Like it would be like ridiculously slapstick in some scenes, and then other scenes were kind of dark and did not make money at the box office. Didn't do well. And Rise of Skywalker is the lowest profits of the new trilogy, and got beat up on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe they should have gone with their gut the first time in the original version, which the Colin Trevorrow version. But yeah, people said now that after the fact, you're seeing what was cut, and they had like a massive lightsaber battle, and they had more about Rey's past where it actually made sense.
They were just trying to like shove back in,
fan service,
right? Well, and where they originally were going to go with it before Rian Johnson completely took it off the rails.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. I mean, it might be a false alarm, but it's interesting that a movie that's this high profile is having this many problems.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's not like, they don't have a plan. They always know what they're doing. Marvel.
Sure.
Disney knows everything.
That's right. They don't make it up as they go at all.
They don't. We're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.